Tittle. Dylan Wang and Shen Yue. Secret Son revealed in an interview. Script. It began as just another star-studded interview. Bright lights, neatly arranged microphones, and a perfectly styled set. The air was buzzing with excitement as Dylan Wang and Shen Yue walked in together, radiating the effortless charm that had captured millions of hearts since their first drama. Fans watching live expected playful banter, behind-the-scenes gossip, maybe even hints at a future collaboration. What they did not expect was the confession that would change everything they thought they knew about these two stars. For years, their relationship had been the center of countless rumors. Were they just friends? Co-stars with incredible chemistry? Or something more? The world had speculated endlessly, dissecting every glance, every touch, every social media post. Yet, no matter how persistent the questions, Dylan and Shen Yue had always stayed silent, giving polite, practiced answers that revealed nothing. But on this day, that silence was about to break. The interview began innocently enough. Dylan's smile was relaxed, his voice calm as he spoke about his upcoming projects. Shen Yue, glowing in a soft pastel dress, laughed lightly as she shared stories from the set. The chemistry between them was as magnetic as ever, the kind that made fans type in all caps on social media. But then, halfway through, the interviewer leaned forward and asked the question that would flip their world upside down. Is there something personal, something meaningful, that you've never shared with the public until now? Shen Yue froze for just a second. Her eyes flickered toward Dylan, and in that moment, something unspoken passed between them. Dylan's easy smile faded into something more serious. He gave her the smallest nod, one that only someone who truly knew him would catch. And then Shen Yue spoke. There's someone important in our lives, she began softly, her voice trembling ever so slightly. Someone we've kept private for years. The interviewer tilted her head. Important in what way? Dylan leaned forward, resting his hands on the table. His next words were calm, but carried a weight that silenced the entire room. We have a son. It was as if the world stopped. Cameras kept rolling, but no one moved. Even the interviewer, a seasoned professional, took a moment to process what she had just heard. A son, she repeated, almost in disbelief. Shen Yue nodded slowly. Yes. He's real. He's ours. And we've kept him away from the spotlight because we wanted him to grow up as normally as possible. The story spilled out like a secret that had been waiting too long to be told. They had met years ago, on the set of their first big drama together. Their friendship had deepened quietly, without the flashy headlines or staged paparazzi shots. Somewhere along the way, friendship turned into love. And then came the news that changed their lives forever. They were going to be parents. The decision was instant. They would protect him at all costs. They wouldn't let fame, gossip, or public curiosity take away his innocence. So while the world debated whether they were dating, Dylan and Shen Yue were secretly navigating midnight feedings, first words, and birthday cakes with just a handful of trusted friends who knew the truth. Dylan's voice softened as he spoke about the boy. He's curious about everything. He asks a million questions a day. He loves to draw. That's from Shen Yue, and he's obsessed with basketball, which, I guess, is from me. He chuckled, but his eyes betrayed the emotion he was holding back. Shen Yue smiled through the tears threatening to form. He's the best part of both of us. Every decision we've made, every role we've taken or turned down, has been because of him. The interviewer asked the question on everyone's mind. Why reveal this now? Dylan's answer was simple. Because he's getting older, and we don't want him to think there's something to hide. We want him to know we're proud of him, and that our love for him isn't something we need to keep in the shadows. As soon as the interview aired, the internet exploded. Hashtags like hashtag Dylan Wang Shen Yue and hashtag Secret Son Revealed shot to the top of trending lists worldwide. Fans reacted in waves, shock, joy, confusion, even betrayal that the truth had been hidden for so long. Some celebrated the couple's commitment to protecting their child, while others scoured old videos, convinced there had been hidden clues all along. Photos began circulating online. A blurry shot of Dylan carrying a small boy on his shoulders. A park snapshot showing Shen Yue holding a tiny hand. None were confirmed, but the frenzy only grew. Yet through it all, Dylan and Shen Yue stayed calm. In a joint social media statement, they addressed their fans. Our son is our greatest treasure. We've chosen to share his existence with you today, but we ask for his privacy. This isn't a scandal. It's our truth. But even as the dust began to settle, new questions emerged. Who else knew about the boy? Had other celebrities kept similar secrets? Would this open the door for Dylan and Shen Yue to go public with their relationship completely? Industry insiders began whispering that this revelation might not be the end of the story. It might just be the beginning of a new chapter where the two no longer had to hide. And so, the world waits. Fans are watching every move, every post, every glance they share in public, searching for hints about what's next. Because if Dylan Wang and Shen Yue can keep something this huge a secret for so long, what else might they be hiding? Whatever happens, one thing is clear. The most unforgettable plot twists aren't always scripted. Sometimes, the most shocking storylines are the ones playing out in real life, away from the cameras, behind closed doors. And this is one story no one will forget. The days following Dylan Wang and Shen Yue's shocking revelation felt like living inside a storm. Every news outlet, from entertainment blogs to mainstream television, had one headline dominating their pages: Secret Son Revealed. Social media didn't rest for a second. Threads, videos, and fan-made compilations were flooding timelines. Every photo, every old interview clip, every interaction between Dylan and Shen Yue was being analyzed as if fans were solving the greatest mystery in celebrity history. But for Dylan and Shen Yue, the chaos outside was nothing compared to the conversations happening behind closed doors. In their quiet apartment away from the noise, the two sat together, scrolling through the endless stream of online reactions. "They're calling him Little Wang Yu," Shen Yue murmured with a faint smile, holding her phone. Dylan chuckled, but it was a short, almost nervous laugh. "It's better than some of the other names I've seen today." She glanced at him, reading the concern in his eyes. "You're worried." "Of course I'm worried," Dylan admitted. "We just turned his life upside down. No matter how careful we are, someone will try to get to him now. Paparazzi, reporters, even people pretending to be friends." Shen Yue reached for his hand. "We did what we had to, and we're going to protect him, no matter what." But the universe had other plans. 2 days later, an anonymous photo appeared online. A clear, close-up shot of a small boy walking hand in hand with Shen Yue. His face was partially turned, but his features were unmistakable to anyone who had been following the story. The photo's caption simply read, "Found him." Within hours, it went viral. The media frenzy reignited, now hotter than ever. Fans split into two camps, those who defended the family's privacy and those who demanded proof of the truth Dylan and Shen Yue had shared. By evening, Dylan's phone buzzed with a call from his manager. "This is about to get ugly. Someone's selling more photos, playground shots, school drop-offs, even videos. I don't know who's behind it, but it's organized." The realization hit like a punch. This wasn't just casual curiosity anymore. Someone was actively digging into their private lives, and their son was the target. Later that night, Shen Yue sat alone in the kitchen, scrolling through messages from people she hadn't spoken to in years, some offering support, others fishing for gossip. A knock at the door startled her. Dylan opened it to find a small envelope on the ground. No name, no return address. Inside was a single photograph, their son, taken from a distance, playing basketball. On the back, in messy handwriting, were the words, "You can't hide him forever." The air between them felt heavier than ever. This wasn't just public curiosity, it was a warning. And just when they thought things couldn't get worse, a new rumor started spreading online, that their son wasn't biologically Dylan's. A shadowy source claimed Shen Yue had been seen with another man during the early months of her pregnancy. The story was unverified, but it spread like wildfire, threatening to fracture the carefully built truth they had just shared. Shen Yue sat in silence, staring at the news feed. "If this gets any bigger, it's not just about him anymore," she whispered. "They'll tear us apart." Dylan took her hand, eyes burning with determination. "Then we fight back." No more silence. No more hiding. Somewhere in the distance, cameras were already flashing. The world was watching, and Dylan Wang and Shen Yue were about to take a stand no one could have predicted. The morning after the rumor broke, Dylan and Shen Yue's names were plastered across every trending list in Asia. Headlines screamed betrayal, speculation videos racked up millions of views overnight, and expert body language readers were dissecting their old interviews as if the truth was hidden in every blink. Inside their home, the atmosphere was tense. Their son, blissfully unaware of the chaos, was in his room sketching superheroes. Meanwhile, Dylan was pacing the living room, phone in hand, reading the latest headlines. Anonymous insider claims paternity doubt. He read the words aloud in disbelief. They're not even pretending to have proof. Shen Yue, sitting on the couch, stared at the floor. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. People will believe what they want to believe. And the more we react, the more fuel we give them. But Dylan wasn't one to let a storm swallow him. No. This isn't about rumors anymore. Someone is orchestrating this. First the photos, now this lie. Whoever it is, they know exactly where to hit us. Later that day, their manager arrived, bringing with him a folder of information. Inside were printouts of the leaked photos, timestamps, and location data that had been dug up by a private investigator. What they found was chilling. All the images had been taken from angles and distances that suggested the photographer wasn't a stranger passing by. This was someone who had consistent, close access to their lives. Shen Yue's voice cracked. So, it's someone we know? The manager nodded grimly. Someone inside your circle. Maybe even a friend you've trusted for years. The betrayal stung deeper than the rumors ever could. Dylan clenched his jaw. Then we're going to find them and end this. That night, Dylan and Shen Yue sat together, combing through every person who had been around them in the past few months. Family, friends, crew members, assistants, even neighbors. One name kept coming up. Someone who had been there during their son's birthday party, at their low-profile family trip, and even when they visited the park. And then the truth hit them. The person behind the leaks wasn't an anonymous paparazzo or a random stalker. It was someone who had stood beside them at red carpet events, smiling for cameras, shaking their hands, a fellow celebrity. This changed everything. If they went public with the name, it would explode into a scandal the industry had never seen before. But staying silent meant more leaks, more rumors, and more danger for their son. The decision had to be made, and fast. In the quiet of their living room, Dylan finally spoke. We've been protecting our son all these years. But maybe the best way to protect him now is to stop protecting them. Shen Yue's eyes met his, a mix of fear and resolve. Then we tell the world the truth. And just like that, the stage was set. The next move would not just defend their family, it would shake the entire entertainment industry to its core. The day of the reveal was unlike anything Dylan Wang and Shen Yue had ever faced. They had arranged an unannounced, live-streamed press conference. No glossy PR filters, no pre-approved questions, just the two of them, sitting side by side at a plain table, their hands intertwined under the surface. The moment the cameras went live, hundreds of thousands tuned in within seconds. The chat section of the stream exploded with comments. Are they breaking up? Is the rumor true? Show us the proof. Dylan's voice was steady, but his eyes burned with intensity. For weeks, our family has been dragged through lies, manipulated by someone we once trusted. Tonight, we're ending that. Shen Yue took a deep breath, her fingers gripping the microphone. The photos of our son, the stories about his identity, they didn't come from strangers. They came from someone who stood beside us for years, someone who called themselves our friend. A heavy silence fell. The world seemed to hold its breath. Dylan reached for a folder on the table and slid it forward. Inside were printed images, unedited, high-resolution shots from the same camera that had captured every leaked photo. The timestamps matched the moments they thought they were safe. A family picnic, a school drop-off, a private birthday. Dylan turned the last page, revealing the photographer's identity. It was Li Xian. The name hit like a thunderclap. Li Xian, a respected actor, someone both Dylan and Shen Yue had worked with early in their careers, someone beloved by the public for his gentleman image. Shen Yue's voice cracked. We let him into our home. He played with our son. And all the while, he was selling our private life to the highest bidder. The chat exploded. Fans were in disbelief, flooding the stream with angry messages, demands for explanations, and even threats toward Li Xian. Within minutes, his name topped every trending chart across Asia. But Dylan wasn't finished. He didn't just sell photos. He planted the lie that our son wasn't mine. We have proof, messages between him and certain tabloids. And tonight, we're making all of it public. He held up a USB drive. This is everything. In that moment, they weren't just actors. They were parents, fighters, and truth-tellers. The fallout was immediate. Major networks cut to breaking news. Li Xian's PR team went into full damage control, but the evidence was undeniable. Contracts were dropped. Sponsors pulled out. Former colleagues came forward with their own stories. And yet, in the midst of the chaos, Dylan and Shen Yue felt lighter than they had in years. The threat was gone. Their son was safe for now. As the press conference ended, Shen Yue leaned toward Dylan and whispered, "This isn't the end, is it?" Dylan smiled faintly. "No. This is just the start of living without fear." And with that, they walked off the stage hand in hand, leaving the industry and their fans stunned, divided, and desperate to know what would happen next.